one night in volleyball. I was excited and roughhousing, and I jumped on another male NXIVM member. Keith said I straddled him and that I communicated that I was open to having relationships with other men, and that I had really disrespected him. So I stayed home for a whole weekend, and I came up with a very involved 7-page plan. I'm so sorry, Keith. I'm perceived as easy or available for a relationship, or viewed as jumping from man to man, so not taken seriously. This degrades me, and also sets a bad example in the organization, and reflects poorly on Keith and his choice to be with me or have a child with me. I damage the way others will view, relate with, and treat our child, so I'm hurting someone who doesn't even exist yet. Keith said it was a pattern, that the way I relate with men disrespected our relationship, which was another reason why we couldn't have children, and that I had to work on myself first. Then he told me he was considering resigning as Vanguard because of what I had done. It was a huge deal to me. I couldn't make sense of why he would leave the community without a leader because I had done this. So I decided to stay. I thought if I could prove to him that I was a good person, then I could believe it myself. I guess I thought it would help justify all the choices that I made over the last 20 years. He told me he was having a child with another woman, Mariana. I had a complete meltdown. He responded by telling me that my emotional reaction was making things harder.
Love, if you will, is the greatest fight. It fights against comfort, it fights against our bodies, it fights against our emotions, it fights against our words. Hopefully, when you take on commitments, when you take on vows, you're gonna have to fight for them harder than you imagined. That's how we know love, by how much pain we can feel.
Ultimately, I apologized to Keith for my immaturity and committed to staying with him, knowing there wouldn't be a relationship or children.
I found today to be really disturbing. It was really hard to stomach. You have someone who is so devoted to him. I mean, she loves this man. She wants to have children with him. And then he has the gall to approach her after she's waited for so many years and say, actually, I think I'm gonna have a child with Mariana. And then when she gets upset about that, it's thrown back in her face as the reason that she's not fit to bear children with Keith. It's just such a mind fuck.
And then after New Year's, Keith wanted to get things going again. I got a call from another first-line master. She said it would be really nice if we did something special for Keith during the ceremony. I can't remember her exact words, but I interpreted it as group sex. Then I started texting Keith. I said, "Is this what you think of me? Is this what you want from me?" And he said, "Look, you have control issues, and they interfere with so many things that you do. Until you're willing to surrender to anything and everything, you're never going to get through this issue." And I was like, there has to be another way for me to grow that isn't this. And he said there isn't. Now I had no way of growing except surrendering to a group blowjob. But I decided to believe Keith and go to the recommitment ceremony.
She was fucked with. She was been fucked with, and consequently, fucked other people too. Like, really screwed them up. And the way that she was with me in DOS makes sense now. Like, it was abusive. It was like being with someone in an abusive relationship. Like, she'd be mean, and then I'd be like upset about it. She's like, "Why are you upset? Don't you see I'm only doing this for you and your growth? Don't you see I'm doing this because I love you?" And obviously this is what she's getting from Keith.